Hello everyone, welcome to Triple T Thursday, which stands for Tips, Tricks, and Talktorials. Today I have a very special friend slash guest here, and I'm going to let you introduce yourself, of course, in a minute, but I want you all to meet my friend Gwen Miller, formerly of, I'm sure you'll get into all the details, formerly of Kin, formerly of all kinds of awesomeness, data science goddess. And I have to say, I was looking at something earlier today, and it was a video interview from 2 years ago with something about Ada Lovelace, and numbers and math and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, no one ever talks about Ada Lovelace. So, Charles Babbage, that whole thing. So anyways, I was fascinated by that because I am a fellow female data nerd, but not to the extent that we're going to take it with you. Now, for everyone out there, we have a game that we have to play first. So I hope you're ready to play this game, Gwen. The first one is we have to play a game. It's called What's in Your Cup? I hope you are ready for oh, what do you got there? What do you got? Seltzer?
So I'm a little bit of a sparkling water snob, and by that I mean I only drink the finest of store-bought brands.
Okay.
The fancier the seltzer water gets, the less I like it. I want the store brandiest of store brands. This is my favorite store brand. It is Kroger. Available at your fine Kroger supermarkets everywhere. I highly recommend it.
Awesome. All right. And for myself, what I've got today in a fancy cup right here, this is aloe juice from Iberia. I got this off of Amazon. Yeah, there you go. They have different flavors. They have mango, pineapple, strawberry, and the little, I know it sounds weird, floating chunks in here are the aloe pulp. So it's delicious. Aloe juice, delicious. And it feels fancier in a wine goblet, right? So
I have never thought of putting aloe in my mouth instead of on my skin.
Oh my God, if you've never tried it, you have to try it. You have to try it. It's so good.
I feel like it would, some reason I think it would taste like a cactus. Does it not?
No. It just tastes like juice. And it's delicious, I swear. I promise. I'm not going to lead you astray on this. It's really, really good.
Okay, now like a pear juice or like an orange juice? Like lighter, heavier?
Okay, so the pulp is like orange juice. If you kind of like some of that pulp, there's some without it. Some has like strawberry bits or whatnot. And then it's more like white grape juice, maybe, but kind of like more refreshing, maybe. So if you kind of like that sweeter taste with some of the little pulpy aloe bits, that's your jam. And so if you get the pack off Amazon, because we have it delivered now, it has the aloe, mango, strawberry, and pineapple flavors, as well as like the just the regular, and it's delicious. So yes, that's what's in my cup today. So I'm super excited, and I would love for you to, for anyone who doesn't know who you are, I would love for you to take a few minutes, introduce yourself to everyone. Everyone say hello to Gwen. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Gwen. My name is Gwen Miller. I what should I talk about? Like my background, how I got into YouTube, like what's the general feel that you like to go for?
I would say whatever you feel like sharing with us is totally fine, but I will say we should spend some time on how your love for numbers and data came to be. But I would love for you to say, the whole thing, whatever you feel like sharing.
So, I actually have a TV film degree, and I graduated from college. Well, let's put it this way: I'm old, and I graduated from college the year YouTube started, like literal man in the zoo at the zoo days. So it's not like exactly I got out of college and was like, "Ooh, this is what I'm going to do." I went into the more traditional route, television. Spent quite a few years in television, and really wasn't in love with it. There was not a lot of room for experimentation. You kind of had the cookie cutter that everyone had been following for years, and you were maybe allowed to tweak with it just a little bit. But most of the time what would happen is by the time anyone saw an episode, you were already pretty much through shooting the entire season. So it wasn't like you could get audience feedback and modify. What happened 99% of the time is you shot a season, it went out, and you got canceled. So it just
different kind of canceled, but yeah.
And it took, and that these things cost millions and millions of dollars. So yeah, I mean, it's obvious they didn't want to take a lot of risks, but it was all very cookie cutter. So about the time that all my friends were like, "Oh my God, Gwen, I just did a webisode," as we called them back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna hide that on my resume because, oh my God, how embarrassing! Nobody can know I worked on the webisode. And I kept being like, you know what, make everything that we're doing here better? Audience interaction. And so I started looking at making the transition at the same time all my peers were like, let's not. And I was like, in 5 years, you will ask me for a job. And it's that has proven true. So I switched over about the time a lot of the big media companies were starting to be like, okay, maybe we should start experimenting over here, right? And so I got over and was like mind blown at how much information we had about our audience and about our content. Because you got to realize I'm coming from TV, right? That had one data point. And it wasn't that great of a data point. Like it was a data point that didn't tell you a lot about how to make things better. It just told you you're going to get canceled really quickly. So I just got really excited. I started looking around and being like, okay, who's going to teach me about this? Like, I didn't really consider myself all that much of a numbers person before that. I mean, I have a freaking TV film degree, right? But I just kept looking around being like, well, is anyone going to teach me about this? And I think what happened, especially in large media companies, is they went from one data point to a lot of data points and just kind of freaked out.
And they didn't know where to look.
Like, they didn't know what to do with it. So they just didn't do anything with it. So I just started doing it and being like, hey guys, did you know this about our audience? Do you know that when we do this, this happens? And from there, 10 plus years later, it's just kind of expanded on that, where I kind of, span the difference between, data scientists and like creatives, right? Where I can kind of interpret the data into something that is very actionable and actually works in the real world in digital media. I'm by far not a data scientist. I get all the terms wrong all the time. Like structured, unstructured data, what the heck is that? But what I do specialize in is I have spent a lot of time in YouTube data. So I have a very good instinct, and when I'm looking, like I can look at a retention graph, and I can often predict what's happening at a certain point in the video just because of the structure of the graph. So it's just many, many years of spending time in it, coming from a creative background, understanding how creatives think, and knowing that this is really powerful. It's your audience talking to you in code. You just have to decipher it, and I'm here to help creatives do that, not use it as a blunt hammer on their head to be like, you lose all your creative control. No, this helps you make better content and helps you connect to your audience. So that's kind of my passion and what I've been doing for the past 10 years. I've worked in all sorts of companies. I worked at Discovery Communications. I worked at Endemol Shine on a co-venture with Michelle Phan. I spent 5 years at a women's lifestyle company called Kin, where we worked with celebrities to launch YouTube channels. So I've worked with like Tia Murray. I've worked with like Adrian Houghton. I've worked with a whole bunch of what I would call nostalgic stars aimed at women 25 plus. I just came off a stint at Branded Entertainment Network, and you've actually caught me in my week off between that and starting a role at Hearst.
That's so exciting. And if you guys didn't know, Hearst is like a big magazine kind of conglomerate, but they've got a whole bunch of video stuff, and they've got a bunch of stuff going on. But like I think they own like Cosmo, and they own like a whole bunch. 17
Good Housekeeping. They bought Clever a couple years ago, so they have Clever Style now and Clever News. So it's an interesting mix from my traditional media days background type of to the more digitally native, which I'm excited because I like having that kind of broad spread of data to get my hands on.
No, I love that. It's funny because if you talk to Gwen, she's like, oh, I had the weekend off, so I just went headfirst into these spreadsheets for like hours, and I just got lost in the data, and the stories it was telling you was so great. And I was just like, have you heard of Netflix and chill? There was like data sheets and chill. I was like, okay, cool. That's another way to do it. But this is going to be beneficial for so many different reasons. And I love what you said so much, and I even labeled the live stream this because I was talking about this with people where I was saying data doesn't really have feelings. It just reveals things, and a lot of the time people get in their own way because they're so in love with their own content. They're so in love with whatever they're doing that they refuse to believe that something that they're doing is or isn't working, or why. Or it's like coming to someone being like, hey, I saw you smoking, and then being like, that no, and it's like, okay, sure. So I, full transparency, everyone, I said, Gwen, this should just be so much fun, I guess, if that's even a thing for you, because I was like, there are so many mistakes that I've made on my YouTube channel, in my YouTube journey, along everything, and I gave her full disclosure, and I said, It's totally fine to share things, numbers, specifics. We're gonna be an open book here, and y'all can just watch me get destroyed in data terms, and I'm gonna try not to take it personal and just be like, data doesn't have feelings. We're just talking some numbers here, and maybe some mistakes that I've made and things I can correct for the future. So I don't know where you want to start, but feel free to let me know.
And will the audience be able to ask questions?
Absolutely. So if y'all are here, please drop your questions down below, and then we can try and get to as many of those as we can. So also, hello to Dutch Can Jam. Hello to the Running Fish. Hello, Serenity Journey. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate you all.
And I will definitely have questions for you guys as well as we go along.
Oh, homework.
Definitely have some questions
There's homework
about your audience, Shelly, and pinning down exactly who your audience is. Because I do see, and we'll get into it, a little confusion in the algorithm about
Oh God,
that.
I'm not surprised at all. Yes. You're telling me like I'm supposed to be surprised. I am not. So.
I some of the stuff I'm probably going to kick back to you too, because at the end of the day, like, I am a data person.
Yeah.
Like, I do not ask me any production questions. Like, I am hopeless. Do never watch a video that I personally make. It's like those who can't do teach, right? And like, I spend all my time in the background of everyone else's data, and that's where I can really sing. But literally, anyone I know has a question about how to actually make a video, you go to Shelly. Like, she just nice, happens to somehow know everything about any piece of equipment you could possibly be having an issue with, which is...
That's not true, but I appreciate you for saying that. So first you butter me up, and then you roast me. Got it.
Correct. All right, so let's get in there.
Let's just jump into it.
I think, this isn't going to be a surprise. I love going back into like the beginnings of channels, because you can really see someone develop as the YouTuber. Like, you can see the point when you're like, oh wait, like my audio mix with my music is off, and suddenly in the next video, like it's so much better. And the really interesting thing is you can see that effect in your actual retention graphs. So if you look at like your first couple videos when you had your title track was so much louder than your actual vocals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can see anytime the theme song came on, like the retention would actually drop.
Oh, I'm not.
Just because
it was so loud. And it was because I had a set. I think it was a 8-second intro. If y'all haven't seen it, you can go back to some of my earlier videos. And I ended up eventually just dropping the intro. But I had it, but I'd recorded it someplace else. And then every time I made a video, I just dropped it in. And I never paid any attention to the sound before or after, really. And it definitely took me a while. And I ended up dropping it. I think I ended up dropping it to like 10% of what it was. So I mean, it was absolutely blowing people's eardrums out. So yeah.
It was just a great illustration of how important like audio is.
Oh yeah.
Like everything else, like you can have a blurry camera as long as you have a great personality, no one's gonna care. But as soon as their ears hurt, boy are they out of there, right?
Yep. Absolutely. I would absolutely advise people in order of equipment upgrades. I always would say, like, fix your audio, fix your lighting, then fix your video, because I feel like those are more important, and people tend to get them in reverse.
Yeah, for sure. And say hello to my cat Spot. She will be showing it a lot.
I love, like, when she's like being held like a baby and just like looking up at you, like, it's my favorite.
My cat, for everyone out there, is like a work from home fiend. I have this week off, and it's only been one day in, and she already sits in here growling at me because she wants me to come in. And right now she's frustrated because usually if I was on a Zoom call, I'd be sitting in my chair, and then she would just be like sitting on me, and she like covers my whole upper body. And
she totally
like,
can if you want.
She
totally can.
Purrs.
She is a recurring
then I would
star.
Just fall asleep in the middle of the talk. She's
Okay.
just so like, she thinks that this is her time. So, but that's why I got the cat tree here, is to kind of like, she can be close, but she doesn't have to be like, be the star of every Zoom call.
Oh, she is a star though. I'll give her that. She's a star. She's a star.
All right, so I would say, look, and we've talked about this a little bit, Shelly. Like, you started off with a little bit of mixed intentions, right? You had a lot of great Instagram how to, and like more in the vein of what you do now, except maybe a little less focused. And then you had what we would probably call the women's lifestyle stuff, right? And at the end of the day, you didn't have a ton of those videos, but the problem was they were in for at different points in your early lifespan really popular videos.
Yeah, it was a problem. It was a problem. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm referring to, I have two just random. One of them is like how to cut up a t-shirt 5 ways. Because I just happen to have a whole bunch of old t-shirts, me and my husband, like the ones you get at trade shows or different things like that. And I was like, this would be kind of fun. And then I also had one, and I don't want anyone thinking I'm bougie, because I'm not bougie, but I'm repairing these Louboutin shoes, this red paint, those iconic red bottoms. And I had gotten them from a girl who was moving to New York to be with her boyfriend, and she gave them to me for $25. And so I was like, sweet. So I wore them out like an idiot to like concrete gravel places, and they got all scuffed up. And I was like, oh, these aren't like normal shoes. You can't like wear them places that aren't carpet, I guess. So they were all scratched up. And so my friend had made a video about repairing the bottoms and painting. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. And then I was like, hey, maybe I'll just film myself doing it. And I did. And I swear to you, I sell more bottles of that red paint, that shoe paint on Amazon than anything I've ever sold in my entire life on Amazon. Even now, it's like 300, 400 bottles of that red paint. But I'm like, I'm not a DIY channel, I'm not a fashion channel, and I'm not a shoe repair channel. But it happens to have a lot of views.
Yeah. And I think what is very interesting, like, because you know how you mentioned that you had a period when you went through a lot of subscriber loss. Like bad.
18 months of it. 18 months straight.
And I was like, I'm gonna dig in and figure out what this is. So yeah, so you essentially you had a couple more, but you essentially have 3 main, what I would say are more women's lifestyle videos and not, tech videos. You have the Louboutin one, you have the t-shirt one, and then in July of around 2018, you did the giveaway video.
Yeah, yep.
In that month, you gained 20,000 subscribers.
Yeah, it was all from the giveaways we talked about that.
And, and then they all went back and and everyone watched the Louboutin and the t-shirt video. And then they ran out of lifestyle videos from you. And then so over the next 6 months, you lost 17,000 subscribers. I sure
did.
So you essentially brought them in, and then they just kind of bled back out. The problem for you there was it also affected your views, because the algorithm was then getting mixed signals. And they were like, oh, her content must not be that great. All these people are not watching and unsubscribing. You just had the wrong audience in there for the type of content you actually wanted to produce, right? So it just kind of created quite a bit of havoc, probably for both sides of your audience. And for sure, up to this day, YouTube really has I don't think has a real idea of who your audience is, and is a little confused at who to put your content in front of.
No doubt. That entire period, there were actually 2 back to school giveaways, I think, because I think one of them ended up being like really, and she wanted to do another one. I did this with my friend who had actually the one with the shoe repair channel, or the shoe repair video that I copied. And so we did this together, and I was super excited because she has a really big channel. I had a very small channel. We were just buddies, and so we were like, yeah, this sounds cool. Yeah. And my mom's a school teacher. I kind of like makeup stuff. I have so much extra makeup stuff or back to school stuff I can go purchase at Target. So I was like, yes, count me in. And then 20,000 subscribers came in, and then every single one of them who realized they never won anything was just like, oh, you published a new video, I don't want to see you later. Yep. Every single time I put out a video, I would lose triple digits or something. I love how you're like, you lost 17,000 subscribers. And I'm like, they were never really mine. They were pretty fickle.
Yeah. Exactly. Those were not, and that is what I warn people all the time when they're like, oh my God, I just put up this video and it got me so many views and there's all these new subscribers. And I'm like, that video has nothing to do with the regular content on your channel. Like, they're ephemeral. They're going to go away. And in a lot of ways, it's going to pull your channel further back than when it started at that point, right? So it gets a little bit dangerous and tricky, especially when you have something that is so different.
It was off the wall. It was completely different. Yeah. There wasn't going to be, sure, are there women like me and you who are interested in both? Sure. But if you're talking, here's the top of the funnel for beauty, this big.
here's the top of the funnel for tech. Maybe it's this big. You know what? The crossover from that is probably this big.
Yeah. I was trying for a while to go after him. I'm sure you'll probably get into it, but I was trying to almost position myself as if you want to be a beauty YouTuber, because I was trying to keep more females interested. I was like,
right.
This is how you edit like a beauty guru. This is how you do things like a beauty guru would do, because I was like, I think I was fighting this whole like, well, apparently females, if they're trying to be creators, are only trying to become beauty creators or like DIY lifestyle like, and I was like, can I do something that is appealing to them? So I would do like a how to remove a background on something, but I would use a makeup item so that it would be like female friendly, because I was also skewed so predominantly male, and I'm like, it's great, thanks dudes, but like I'm trying to help some ladies, and so I would choose makeup items to like try and feature in these videos, to like how to remove a background or animate this thing, and I don't think it ever landed.
Though I will say, I've seen a lot of the back ends of tech channels, and you are now, at least at this point, if you look at your actual, like, you're actually 50-50.
Is it? I thought it was 56-44 or something. I was like, I'm trying to get to 50-50.
Over the lifetime, it's a little bit more even, which again is probably being skewed a little bit by
the giveaway.
Your top 5 videos are 50% of your total views.
Yeah.
So you have 5 videos that are really strongly influencing everything else.
Which is funny, because like even if you have a library of 295 videos, like so much of what YouTube thinks about my channel is dictated by 5 videos, 2 of which have absolutely nothing to do with what I do.
Correct. And then, look, and I think we'll probably get into this, but you do get the question of, your top videos are, videos about iMovie and green screen, right?
Yep.
So then you have the choice of being like, I'm just gonna quadruple down on that. I'm just gonna do iMovie and green screen videos, and maybe some Final Cut videos, because that's a top search term for you.
I tried that too. Oh yeah, you saw how many green screen videos I put out, like, or just green screen only videos, or like animated subscribe buttons. I think I redid that video 3 times because I was like, oh yeah, that seems to drive views. So yeah, here we go.
But and I think that is the danger of and this is gonna sound weird coming from me, being too data driven. Like, you can look at, you can essentially be a little, you can be in this little pond. Like, again, like people who are interested in, say, iMovie and green screen. Like, I think it's been proven out for you over the last couple of years that isn't a big enough audience to grow a large audience off of. So while being very specific could help you get more of that iMovie audience, and you are doing great in search, and you're doing great in suggested video right now, which indicates, and this is something that YouTube will tell you, which I think is very interesting, is what it means when you're performing really well in search and suggested video. So that essentially means YouTube is really good at matching you with people who have intention. So, when someone comes to the homepage, YouTube will say, we don't know what they're in the mood for. We don't know what their intention on the platform. We don't know if they came here to learn a specific thing, because we have no information on their mood right now. We know their past history, but we don't know why they got on the platform today. As soon as they put something in the search bar or they start watching videos, suddenly they have a much better view into what their intention for this session is. Once they figure that out, they're really good at matching you to them. So if they know they have the intention of iMovie or the intention of green screen, then they're like slap happy putting your content up all day and having it clicked on. You perform very well there. What they haven't seemed to crack is knowing who just the person is who like Shelly is. And who, if we put Shelly on their home screen, that person is going to click on your face, whether, they're trying to figure out an iMovie problem today or not. And I think that's where kind of the crux of your issue is right now. And I think that, yes, I think expanding the portfolio of what you talk about will probably actually in the short term lessen your views, because it's just shooting fish in the barrel at this point for you putting up.
You can't hurt my feelings, Gwen. Sometimes I put out a video and I can't even get like 80 views, so like, which is horrendous given my channel size. And I wish so much, I know everyone's always like, oh my god, I wish I had subscribers, and I'm like, I wish YouTube would clean them all out and I knew who was actually really still here, because I was like, if anyone has that kind of percentage in which you get dunked on all the time for view to, you know, subscriber ratio, I'm just like, I wish I could just take it all back, give it all back, you know. But yeah, so super fun.
So what I like to look at is, because I agree. I think I would rather, if there's a subscriber who isn't watching my content, they should go away.
Yeah, like if they haven't watched in a year, like they should just get cleaned out, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not interested in this person.
It's actually not too bad. There's some channels that just have a lot of dead subscribers because, you know, they've been around for a long time and their subscriber base maybe has grown out of YouTube. They're too busy with kids or whatever. And that's actually not hurting you at all. If someone isn't getting on YouTube and not seeing your thumbnails, them not doing anything YouTube's not going to pay attention to that at all. The problem is if they're still on the platform, they've just gotten tired of you. So maybe they've grown out of it. Maybe they've, you know, what I see a lot with, you know, YouTube how-to channels is they got burned out on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is, at that point, you want them to hit that unsubscribe button, because otherwise, every time they're on the platform and say they go to their subscription tab and you put out a video and they scroll past it, that's a ding on you. And like, you're less likely to be shown to that person, and there can have some effects on people who the algorithm thinks is like you.
Do you think I should be a little bit more, not controversial, but opinionated? Because you know me, like I am opinionated. I'm a little saucy, and I'm a lot for some people, but I think that for the most part, in my YouTube tutorials, I'm very fact driven. I'm very like, this is the step, and then I don't give you much else. Like, I feel like the tutorials have always been like short and like not a lot about me, which would not surprise me then why YouTube would be confused about who I am or me as a person. But I feel like the live streams are where I am a little bit more myself.
Yeah, this is you. Like, I know you, Shelly. Like, this is you. And I do agree, because I've watched a lot of you over the past week.
I'm sorry.
We got on a group call the other day, and I was like, Shelly, I feel like I've been spending like the last like week with you, and I just hopped on this call and was like, yeah, I was just talking to Shelly. I was like, no, I wasn't. Shelly was talking to me. But no, I agree with that 1,000%, because that is also part of the reason you're functioning so well in search and suggested and not in home. Because if they have the intention of, I need to figure out this iMovie problem,
learning something.
Yeah, learning something, they're coming to you, but they don't have the connection to you to be like, oh, I hadn't thought about this, like learning how to do this thing, but I could be interested. And I like Shelly so much, I'll learn anything Shelly teaches me. Because it's not about you, it's about the how-to, which is great for search.
Yeah.
But if you look at the explosion of like the YouTube guru space over the last couple of years, it's been driven off the personality more than it's been driven off the how-to, right? Yeah. Like, yes, you have to do the videos that, you know, I don't know, you've never done a how to get 1 million views in a week video.
But I did do what YouTube paid me for 1 million views. I like to speak from experiential, like, yeah, so like sometimes I don't want to make that video about like how to get your first 10,000 subscribers, because the answer is like have a massive giveaway with a fellow friend, and I'm like, but don't do this. So that would be the shortest video ever. You know, that actually could be a really good video. It's like why you don't want to get 20,000 subscribers in a month, like, or something. You'll come up with a much better title, right? But no, that was pretty good.
Like, yeah, like,
that was good. Well, because I've seen something like that, which was like, yeah, I went viral and why it's not for you, or I was on trending page and why I hated it, or why it wasn't good. So I've seen that.
Viral destroyed my channel.
Yeah.
Something Absolutely.
Like that. Yeah. I've never been viral, but yes, I know where you're going with that. And but I completely, absolutely agree with that, because I even intentionally made this choice at the beginning that when I was going to teach tutorials, like, no one really knew anything about me. They don't know like my personal life. They don't know what I do for a living. They don't know my family situation. They don't know my, anything. It was, okay, you're here to learn this. I'm going to demonstrate how to do this. Are you good? Let's get out of here. And I always felt like that was doing a service to people, because it was like, I don't need to make the video 10 minutes if it needs to be, or 2 minutes. So, but I feel like over time that's totally killed that personal interaction with
relationship.
people. Yeah.
And this is what I tell, and I tell celebrities this all the time, because the celebrities I work with are very oftentimes, like, I've lived my life in the public. I don't want to be, like, airing out my dirty laundry. You don't need to. You just need to be personable. And yes, tell some personal stories. It doesn't have to be something super intimate. It can be like a daily occurrence, like, I tripped going down the stairs today. Now suddenly, yeah, you're relatable, right? You know, it's just feeling like you're hanging out with someone, especially you, Shelly, which has more attitude in any single conversation I've ever had with you than anyone I ever know. Like, that would work so well on YouTube. But when you watch your YouTube videos, to your point, you are very businesslike, and you get, like, I get the information, but I don't know. I know you, and I want to hang out with you, but I don't know if I want to hang out with the Shelly that's in one of you.
Oh yeah, no, and I completely get that, because I made that choice early on, and I was just like, I don't want to drone on, because I always read how people hated that. You're just like, oh my god, it's a 10-minute tutorial, and where she finally talks about it is like minute 6. It was like Aunt Becky this, and like my dog's that, and I don't give a shit about any of that. And I was always like, I'm not going to be that person. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to get you in and out for what you need. But I think it really shot me in the foot too, because then people would be like, cool, like, who are you? It doesn't even matter who you are, just give me the info. And it became like this utility station that you stop at when you want to learn this one thing, but you never cared about the person teaching it to you. And so it was kind of like,
and it becomes a grind, right? Because you have to build that audience every single video,
every single time. Yep.
Yeah, it becomes hard. Now, I will tell you this, because I also agree, rambling is like the kiss of death. So there's a very specific way you have to do this, and when you have to do it. And the answer to that is never in the beginning and never in the end. Like, you don't want to become a podcast that has like 10 minutes at the beginning, but has nothing to do with the subject, because people clicked on that title for the subject. So you got to get in there, and some of your videos are really good at this, where you just like really like here's what we're going to talk about, and we're in it, right? The key is you interweave the like the personal stuff, and like the stories and the attitude and the offsides and the big things with the tutorial and throughout it. So, and it's never something that is like never like platitudey or isn't interesting to the audience. All has to be interesting, and I think you have a good grasp on interesting. But it should be done in a way where you get one practical step and then you get something fun. It should never be what the problem is if you have like a block of 5 minutes of practical, 5 minutes of fun. If it starts feeling like it's two different videos, that's where you have a problem. Yeah. If it feels like you're hanging out with that super cool, fun teacher who's like a goofball and has all this sorts of fun and has all these crazy stories, that's when people are going to get drawn in and connected. And as soon as you put, you pull, as I always put it, because I come from a lifestyle background, you pull the lasagna out of the oven, you're done, and you're out, and you're to the end card. You're telling the story about that lasagna while you're putting on the tuppence, right? Not, here's the how-to, and now here's the 5-minute moral of the story. That will kill things. But if you can kind of weave it together, so like in the cooking example, I'm hanging out in the kitchen while you're cooking. In this case, I'm hanging out with you while you like teach me how to do, YouTube-y stuff. That is amazing, and I think you'll go far.
One thing that's always kind of bugged me is, this whole multi-passionate creator thing, which I always tell people, like, that's full of shit. Just pick something and go with it, which is interesting because you feel very trapped inside of, like, I feel trapped inside of iMovie, subscribe buttons, green screen, anything like that. And I, even at the beginning when I started my channel, I was like, F all you guys, I'm gonna go out there and be a variety channel, and it's gonna be, tech tips. It was life hacks, tech tips, and beauty videos, which of course we all know didn't work. I tried so many different ways. I'm like, I can teach you how to be a beauty creator if you just like, these things. And then it just became a cluster. And then I was like, okay, fine, I'll go iMovie. And then it became like, oh, you guys don't care about this makeup stuff. I'll start this other channel. Or like, I'll start one about cooking. I just started one about cooking. I'll start one about whatever. And I feel like it's pissing me off that, like, we have to be at the point where it's like,
right,
I can't put it all on the same channel, but I know that's not what people want. But it's kind of like, if I'm going to make a video and have 5 views on it, why can't I just put it on my main channel? You know what I mean? Like, I get so pissed off. I'm just like, if I'm going to get 5 views, I know. And I do.
if you're on a platform which literally is every video is on its own and starts from scratch like that, that's fine. And I think it's so funny with what you did, which is you went too broad and then I think you went too narrow.
Yeah,
it's
I agree.
Almost like, let's look at, like, I always say the rule is one channel per audience. So theoretically, you can go as broad as you think you can get a subset of your audience to really buy into. And I think you could probably take this channel and do a lot more than this, iMovie and green screen. You have, in the time I spend with you every week, taught me a gazillion more things than just iMovie and green screen that is interesting to someone and anyone who's trying to, do this thing we call YouTube. I think you could broaden yourself out to what, all these people talk about, what, depending obviously what you're interested in, but I don't think you have to be like doing iMovie for the rest of your life.
I don't want to do iMovie for the rest of my life. I told people, I said once I did the course, I was kind of like, I'm kind of done with this. I'm doing this for y'all because some of you asked for it and then you didn't buy it.
Right.
But I'm like, okay, I made this course. Can I be done with iMovie? I don't even edit in iMovie, you know what I mean? Or like anymore. So now it's like, if you want to learn how to do something, I have to go look up how would I do this in iMovie, then make the tutorial on it, then edit it in Final Cut Pro, then put it out there and call it an iMovie tutorial. And it's just kind of like, not false, but it's just kind of like, dude, I'm more than iMovie, right? And I think I did a podcast episode once called like, I'm more than a subscribe button, because it was like the number one video. It was the only thing people knew about me. And it was like a subscribe button. I'm like, if I see one more subscribe button, like,
here's the thing. I agree with you that at the end of the day, if you have a great personality, you can sell any type of content. But what I will say when it comes down to, and this is the answer I have for any sort of passion question or cadence question, which is like, where are you not going to burn out? Like, that's the thing. It's like, where will you have the most longevity? You will have the most longevity actually making content you want to make.
Yeah.
So, and I do think temporarily it will probably, and I know you're going to be like, how can my views drop anymore? But like, you probably will see, because there's a comfortability rhythm. If you look at, and I'll send you over the spreadsheets, like I did some like keyword mapping for you. And yeah, like anytime you put iMovie in a title, your click-through rate goes up. Like, there's very obvious things that, yes, your audience is there for those things, but I just think you're going to over time build a bigger audience than you would just by being so micro focused. And to your point, I feel like iMovie's a stepping stone, and I think you see that because actually Final Cut seems to get you good click-through rates as well. Like, I think your audience they do iMovie and then they move on to other things. So you can either let them move on without you, and you're just always going to be the intro channel for people who want to try this YouTubing thing without putting money into it, or you can kind of expand out and start to do other things that you could kind of grow with your audience as they grow.
Yeah, that makes sense, because a lot of the time in the beginning I was focused on iMovie because of the fact that it was free, and I felt really guilty for asking people to like spend money sometimes when I'm just like, you can just bootstrap it, and you don't even know if this is going to work out yet. So like, and the number one thing that just grinds my gears is when people are like, I don't know how to edit, so I can't have a YouTube channel. I'm like, shut up, Susie. If I show you how to edit, can you at least just remove that excuse from vocabulary and actually just have a different one, or actually put up and shut up and like publish a video? So that's where it ever came from, was I wanted to, especially females, even my husband and I had this talk once. He was like, well, it's not like unknown that like a lot of guys want to learn how to edit, but sometimes girls don't. And this is in the midst of a 75-25 split at the time of dudes, and I'm like, why can't I get girls? I'm putting literally makeup on screen and teaching them how to do rotations with it. Like, why are dudes watching all of this lipstick run around? And I was like, see, that's the thing, that's the problem, is like, not only are there not enough females teaching this, there's not enough like of this intro stuff that's out there where it doesn't make you feel like just a stupid dunderhead, because it's like, I don't want people to be like, do you know how to click this button? I'm like, we're not going to talk to people like that. We're going to talk to them like they're human beings, like they're adults, and they're going to be able to figure it out. And so it was always like, it was supposed to be a stepping stone. It was supposed to be, you learn how to edit, shove that off of your plate, and then like make videos. And it was supposed to be, make videos, let's talk about YouTube, let's talk about now that you have the videos, putting them on YouTube and doing stuff. So yeah, iMovie just happened to be this weird stopping thing, and it just never went past that.
I would love to, as the audience wants to chime in, I would love to hear like just a little bit about like from the audience members who are watching right now, like who are you? Like what's your demographics? What sort of things besides YouTube videos do you like? Oh great, my Roomba's going off.
Is it on a schedule? That's awesome. I can't even hear it. It's totally fine.
Wait, I think it just, I think it may be, I must not have docked it right. I think it's out of battery. Score for me.
That's awesome.
I would love to hear from the audience a little bit about themselves, because I would like to kind of know, like, what is the demographics of the people who are watching, like your super fans? What are you guys, what other channels do you guys watch? Like, do you watch other YouTube experts? Who do you watch? Do you watch other type of content? What are your passions? What are you interested in seeing? Like, I think those things, I think because right now, if you look at your overall data, you're mostly looking at this large, not very dedicated audience of people coming in through suggested and search. And I really think if you start concentrating on like, okay, who are the people who come and stay? Like if you look at your actual subscriber base of the people who actually subscribe to you, it's much more overwhelmingly female than the people coming in via search. Because again, I think you got a lot of men coming in via search and being like, oh, great, good. I've learned how to do the green screen thing and I'm gone. I think you have a lot of women coming in and being like, there's actually a woman teaching these things. I'm interested in staying and hearing more from her. And I think that is likely your core audience. That I think you're not wrong. I think probably the strategy, if I put makeup on the screen, it will appeal to them more. I've had that theory in the past as well. I think women probably find that a little pandery. Like, you have to get me in with a lipstick? Like,
yep. I'm trying everything I can here, ladies. Like,
yeah.
What do I...
You are
bottle
the
of
thing
perfume.
that's going to attract women. I don't think you need to be anything but yourself. Like, yeah, could you put out some videos about being a woman in space and what that means? Yeah, I think that wouldn't hurt. But I don't think that you have to like always illustrate everything with like makeup examples or anything. I think they will just appreciate the welcoming atmosphere of having a woman teach them this than all the tech bros that they're usually exposed to, right?
I will say one thing that's kind of interesting is I feel like especially a lot of people don't really know too much about me and my personality or whatnot, because I'm kind of just like most people. If you don't really know me or you hear me in a Clubhouse room, I have a very like dull but like angry and aggressive type of tone, but I'm not like,
I like to call it snarky.
Yeah, but I'm not like an asshole, but I am like, I always do fear that I come across as a very like aggressive, and I feel like sometimes when I answer things and I try and like, for today, for an example, I was in a Clubhouse room and I was trying to say, someone's asking a question, I literally unmuted, I said nope, and I muted again, and I was like, oh, is that kind of bitchy? Because like that's just my thing, is like I don't need to give you 50 words when the answer is no or yes. And I feel like sometimes even that, like I think I am a little bit more afraid sometimes of letting loose in some of the videos, of being like just completely misunderstood sometimes for the way that I speak.
Right.
So.
And I think you're gonna have to prepare yourself from a lot of those comments from men. But I find that women, as long as it doesn't feel like this, like the like you're being bitchy at them and that you don't respect your audience, that's all they care about. But if you're being snarky about the world, women love that. They love you fighting their battles for them, right? So I think, and that's how you actually, like any conversation I've been in, you've never punched down. It's just you have this basic
I just
snarky,
punch around me. I'm an equal opportunity puncher. I don't think that gets understood a lot. So.
And I would believe that that's 90% men and then maybe 10% Karens. But as long you're not going to be live streaming, you're not going to be like putting this on like Karen groups on Facebook. So I think you're going to be fine. You're just going to Are you going to have to mute more bros? Yeah, of course. But I think you'll develop a great relationship with your female audience for sure. All right, I want to make sure we get to some retention.
Oh yeah, sure.
So this is always.
Oh, did you see how her face like lit up, people? She's like, okay, no, right.
This is where I stare at your face and find what makes people be like, bye.
Okay, let's do it. Your face makes people say bye. Got it.
Anytime you show on screen, people leave. No, that's not true. It is not true at all. In fact, I have evidence from other channels that that's actually the opposite effect.
All right, all right.
So I always like to start at the ending, which is the ending. Mainly because I find that oftentimes this is the easiest, like lowest hanging fruit for people to pull up the retention and improve their standing in the algorithm just by tackling our natural bad habits doing endings. You're very interesting though, because you actually do it much better than most channels 50% of the time. Like
50% of the time it works, 80% of the time. I see you. Okay.
So oftentimes you have no tells. And when I say tells, because this is my slang that I use all the time, I mean, if you look at your retention graphs, that's where the everything goes off a cliff near the end, where people are just leaving. And people who are really good at endings just end things. Like, here's the last step you need to know and whatever I'm telling you, and now we're out to the end card and I'm giving you maybe a couple CTAs and then we're out. And you do that a lot and it works really, really well for you. There are certain points when you get trapped in what we all get trapped in, which is we feel it's very awkward to end conversations like that. And we think that the audience must think it's awkward. The audience does not. You just feel it's awkward, so then you have to start putting in a bunch of filler words in there. Like, I hope you enjoyed this. And I'm really, I liked making this video. I hope you liked watching it.
Yeah,
this adds no new information to the audience. It just tells them, hey, the video is done. I better start looking for my next YouTube video. The problem is you want to get people to the end card to click. And sometimes you can, 30, 40, some videos a minute after you use what I call ending words. So as soon as you say something like, and I wrote down some examples from your videos, that's how easy it is. Soon as you say that, that's an ending phrase. People know you're done. I hope you enjoyed. All done. So I hope that was helpful for you. Now, if you enjoyed this video, any of these things...
I've said every single one of those.
Yeah,
I recognize every single one of them. I know. I was like, wow, yeah, I got it. No, that's funny.
And if you absolutely have to have those, make sure it's the last thing you say. But the problem is, typically when you say that, you have a minute left in this video, that you keep going. So you need to surprise them with the dang ending. Like, you're keeping the energy high, and then, great, we're out. And here's the next video you should be watching. So just it's really hard, and I always tell people, sometimes if it makes you more comfortable, do that in the room and then just cut it and edit. If you really need to feel like you need to end the conversation and it feels uncomfortable for you to do that on camera, just be ruthless in the editing process.
I will say there's a couple things that has led to a few of those filler times, and I can tell you what happened is, so we're streaming right now through eCam, and so sometimes I'll have different animations that are built into different scenes, so I can have like the subscribe button or my socials or something come up on screen. And so I can push the button and then just like be looking at the camera, and I can kind of see at the periphery that the thing is still on screen. So I'm just trying to fill time until the thing is off screen so that I can be like, okay, the thing is off screen now, this is going to be an appropriate time to cut. So I have definitely fallen prey to that at the end, because I'm like, I hope you enjoyed. and I just keep going because the animation, I didn't push the button soon enough, and it's an 8-second animation, so it's coming in and out, and I'm just like, yeah, I mean, it's either that or end the video and it's just like halfway on the screen, and just because I can't move it.
Yeah, and because that's the other thing, you don't want silence either. That's even worse.
Yeah.
At any point we just let any silence on the screen, people are like, this is awkward, I'm out.
Yeah, totally.
Here's something else that I found that was interesting, that when I think through makes a lot of sense. The other place that you tend to get retention drops is, I know in your head you're probably being like, I'm going to tease what's coming into the future. So in just a second, we're going to talk about this, or soon we'll get into this. The problem is that's causing people to fast forward. So they're like, oh, she's not talking about this now. I better, like, that's the thing I'm interested in. I'm going to fast forward to that. So anytime you see that, you see a drop in retention, and then it spikes a little bit later because they're fast forwarding
and looking for it.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, so
okay.
you're essentially getting your own retention to drop because
so I can't tell them what I'm about to tell them.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. And it's also, again, the other thing is any repetition statements. So like I mentioned before, Or like we talked about, like I actually do believe in repetition. Just don't tell them you're repeating it. Because as soon as you tell someone, I'm about to tell you something that I've already told you, so you don't need to listen to it again, is essentially what you're saying.
Okay.
So people start to drop, or they just be like, I've already heard this, I'm going to fast forward it.
Okay.
Like if you're going to use the power of repetition, just use the power of repetition. Don't signal to them that something boring is coming that they've already heard. Like,
that is me. I'm trying to tell them what I'm about to tell them, and then tell them what I told them. Because, it's one of those, we're going to drill it into you 3 times to make sure that you actually understood, that you just learned something. And that's maybe... That's an old school method. Yeah.
I'm not saying actually don't do that. I just say don't tell them you're doing that.
Okay.
Like just wrap it in seamlessly and don't give them you don't want to anything that blares to people that you're changing a thought, that you're repeating something, anything that indicates that can pull people out of just like, I am so heads down in what you're talking about. I'm invested. Anything that pulls them out of that investment and gets them to think, am I interested in watching more? They will naturally leave. You want to just keep things moving quickly so that they're engaged all the way through and don't really have time to think about it.
Okay, so I'm going to give you some of the people's responses, because I don't know if you can see any of them. But let's see. Christina Smallhorn said, I have a dog pee video that was my only successful video for years. And so she's a real estate, affordable real estate channel. And let's see here. We've got 1 channel per audience. I love that. That's coming from Liz. She says, thank you. She also said, Shelly just needs to embrace her YouTube tough love and go viral for that.
Yeah.
Me being a jerk. Awesome. All right. Oh, thank you, Belle Gardner. She said, I like listening to your stories. You make boring tech stuff more interesting. So, Adam's Exploit says, back to basics. What's the best way to create searchable content in your niche? And I know about using Google and YouTube search. Are there other sites or techniques that you do recommend? And so we'll come back to that one. You asked what other channels people are watching. We've got D. Nick Nimmin, Roberto Blake, Daniel Batal, personal development channels, and we've got Vanessa Lau and David Foster. I know he does a lot of video tutorials and stuff too. And then Christina says she likes how I say button, which I don't think it's okay. Button. I don't know. She says it weird, or I say it weird, or I don't know. She says button. Anyways, so that's kind of what's coming down there.
Is anyone watching Annie Dubé? She's one that's been showing up a lot in the back end of like what your audience also watches and a lot of the like YouTube tech channels that I've been looking at.
I'm not surprised. I know that she comes up a lot, and in my back end reports and analytics, it'll say like who people are watching besides you. What comes up is like Vanessa Lau, Sunny Leonard Uzi, Roberto Blake, the Nimmins a lot, Daniel Batal a lot, vidIQ, TubeBuddy, like basically all the YouTube helpy type people, which is interesting because I would love to be more known in that space, but even when I feel I put out some of that YouTube-y type content, I don't feel like it does very well.
Yeah, because again, like, here's the thing. What you put out in your, like, this is why it's so funny. I'll tell people just start YouTubing. Like, just jump into it. Like, don't get over obsessed in, like, being perfect. And that is true. But I will also say what you put out in your first month or two of your content will haunt you for the rest of the duration of your channel.
Absolutely.
So I think that's what's happening for you right now. Is it doesn't mean I don't think you could be successful in that space. But again, you're going to have to accept it not working for a while until you build up that audience. Because automatically the stuff that's going to perform best for you right now is anything that you put up that first couple months or that first work that brought all these subscribers in, that iMovie stuff, the green screen stuff, right?
Yeah.
But again, I think you're hitting your cap with that. So you may just have to be like, even though it's getting half amount of views, I'm going to stick this out and I'm going to build this new audience.
What's weird about that iMovie one, I think I had done that maybe a couple months into my channel or first month, but it didn't take off until probably 2 months after that. And then, like, it was a slow trickle, and then it just kind of went bing. And then that was, like, the number one thing that my channel was known for was that video, the animated subscribe button, and then, like, the stupid shoes and t-shirt. Like, it was just those things. And it's funny because I was like, I thought that the video was good, and and then but like no one watched it. And I'm like, okay, cool. I guess it's just not that one. And then it was the shoe one, and I'm like, that's weird. And then it came back, and I was just like, okay, I guess it is now a thing. So like, it's confusing. YouTube is confusing, man.
Would you ever private your Louboutin and your T-shirt video?
I've done it several times. I've done it for several months, and then I tried it as unlisted, and then I even thought about just deleting and uploading on a different channel. Like, I'm not opposed, because I remember I had a conversation once with Daryl Leaves, and he pulled up that video, and he's like, oh, so you're a DIY repair, like, fashion channel. I was like, no. Like, I was just like, no. And so I think he tried to say something to me like, oh, do you want to do, like, more of these type of cut up your t-shirt type? I was like, no. Like, I literally, this was like in the first few months of my channel. He had come to an event in Seattle, and I remember just kind of like almost looking at him like, I don't enjoy that at all. I don't want to do it. I'm like, no. It's funny, but I have no real attachment to those videos. So
yeah, I mean, because you're still getting views in from them, so it's still confusing people, and
Yeah.
it's probably still throwing off the algorithm just a little bit. I always hate, like, it's like, like a librarian not wanting to destroy books. Like, deleting a video is like all that data is gone. But yeah, like, at least privating it, and then if you want to upload it into a different channel, just put an extra black frame at the end of the video, and it's a new video.
It's a new video. And I'm not even like, I'm not super in love with that video anyway. Like, it was shot on an iPad, like on a stack of bookcases. So when people are like, you have to have the nice, and like, dude, it was that iPad, I think, that topped out at 720. I don't even know if, no, it was anyways, but like, it was literally stacked on some bookcases, and I tried to hi baby. Oh nope, she's gonna be shy. So I'm not opposed to doing that, but I think one of the things was I wasn't sure what to do with it until I knew what video should I even be making at this point? And I was just like, at least that's something that brings me affiliate sales. So it was just kind of like I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I get why you did it. It's just, it's had ripple effects.
Yeah, it's really interesting though, because like that one made me more money from affiliate sales, but like the animated subscribe button, let's say like a few $100s, but then I was like, how can I monetize this? So I put that same subscribe button from that video, and I put it up on Etsy, and then I made like $300 in sales, and I was just like, so should I just, yeah, and I was just like, and in way less time. So I was like, should I just create digital assets for people for downloadable things and like sell that? Like, it became a whole like, but I don't want to just be a place where you buy animated subscribe buttons either. But I was just like, I don't know. So, but it's a possibility. I have no idea.
Ooh, I found out how to look at the comments, by the way.
Oh, good.
So,
then you don't have to hear me.
Liz Love YouTube has a good one. If I'm unlisting my mindset videos from this channel and relisting them on the new channel, do I then have to change them? And this is exactly what we were just talking about, right? So you cannot double upload a video on YouTube, right? It's going to catch and be like, you're uploading a duplicate video. You cannot do this. The trick is, if you add just one more frame, it's not a duplicate video.
Because it's new content.
It's new content. So, like, at the end when you fade to black, you could just put an extra frame of black or an extra frame on your end card, whatever you want to do, and technically it's going to be a new upload. So that's what we're saying. If you don't want to lose the data, you could say unlisted or private on your same channel, and then on your new channel, you could upload. The caveat here is, I don't think anyone here is going to have to worry about this unless you're a part of like, and still somehow, is anyone here still part of an MCN? If you are,
don't run.
Right. But
break your contract.
If you have to be part of a CMS that does have, essentially where your everything's getting fingerprinted, like, you'll just need to make sure that your channels are whitelisted for each other. If they're not sitting in the same channel group.
True. Yeah.
Else you could find yourself claiming against yourself.
Which would be funny.
Which would be awkward.
Spoke to myself, and we're gonna allow it.
I've actually dealt with before with creators who were like, I can't get any of my ad revenue because it's being claimed by my other channel.
I think I had something like that though. So I re-uploaded my tour of the spheres in Seattle or something to like my vlog channel, and I got hit with a this video in its entirety is from another, and I was just like, allow. I'm good with this.
What else What have we not covered?
I guess future direction. I guess if you're looking at this data set and you don't know me, or I guess if you do know me, I guess actually it's better if you do know me. What are you saying as like a better path forward would be? Because I will have you know, I've had an identity crisis probably every 6 months, 3 to 6 months for the past 4.5 years on my channel. So I'm pretty much open to someone else's opinion. So and someone who knows data, because I'm not that person.
I would frankly, and again, harsh love here, harsh honesty. If I didn't know you and I would come into your channel and just do the straight how-tos, I'd be like, she has very useful information, but maybe she's just not made to be a YouTuber. Maybe she's just kind of boring.
Maybe
but
I'm made to be a coach.
And I know you, and I know you're not boring. You have one of the biggest personalities I know. If I met you and didn't know you were doing YouTube, I would be like, this girl needs to be on YouTube. Like, she has the biggest, snarkiest personality on earth. She's gonna kill it. And there's just been this disconnect between the you that I know and what you've been putting on screen. Like, I looking at this data set, I'm like, there's so much possibility here. Like, she obviously you have half the equation already, which is knowing your shit. Because that is proved out in the data of everyone coming in and via search and suggested video. They're not bouncing out. They're watching the video. They're getting the information they need. So it's not a expertise issue. You've got that in spades. It's that people don't want to stick around and subscribe and hang out with you. And I like hanging out with you. And I know you have the big personality to make that happen. You put those together because I truly believe as well, we need more women in the space talking about these topics. Like, we need that desperately, but we're seeding that big personality guru type of level of, gargantuan personality to the men right now, and we need to take that back.
I like it. How do we take it back? That's a good question. Okay, so we also have...
Experiment. Try some things out.
I know. YouTube-y stuff or technical stuff?
I think you're going to want to do a mix of both.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. You know, it was interesting because even a video that I didn't think was going to do very well was like the in-shot. And what's funny is because I was like, I don't want to just talk about iMovie specifically because the principles behind video editing are universal no matter it's like coding, you know, like some sort of loop is the same if it's in JavaScript or C#. You just have to know the right nomenclature for it. So I was just like, okay, so let's take some of this and let's throw it up into InShot, which is ironic because it was about green screen. That video did fairly well and I was kind of like, cool, so my audience will listen to video editing stuff that doesn't just relate to iMovie. So I even reached out to LumaFusion, who's here in Seattle, and I'm going to have them on this stream in a couple of weeks to kind of run through some basics in LumaFusion, which I did a long time ago, which did okay on my channel as well. And I think I'm going to do more of the Final Cut Pro stuff as well, because I definitely want to kind of distance myself from iMovie stuff and talk about general editing principles and such. But right. I do want to help people actually create better YouTube channels and actually do that, because it's always been about first you do the edit, then what do you do with it? So I don't know how to make that jump so that the two go together.
Again, I think it comes down to are they the same audience? And when you're on YouTube, mostly it is, yeah. Like, most people are doing it all. It's not like, this is not the Hollywood studio system where you have an editor and you have a lighting person and you have the on-camera talent. This is YouTube. We're all everything, right? So I think you can pretty much assume there is an audience who will be interested in every step of this process. And I do think you're probably going to have an easier time getting that personality thing through, and probably the more YouTube-y side of stuff than an actual, like...
I think so, too.
I'm unboxing this piece of equipment, guys, you know? So I think... take advantage of where you can put the blips of personality in, and while still having the really core informational content as well.
Yeah, because I've been thinking about trying to do more of the YouTube-y stuff, but it is funny because I find a lot of the people who watch me also watch Roberto Blake, or actually compare me to Roberto Blake, because we're both a little bit more edgy. I don't know how to best say that. We're both a little bit like, we're gonna give you some tough love, which is different, very different, and actually I can ask you about this, than a lot of the beginner YouTube type gurus who are very like, anyone can do this, you can do it, you just gotta hit record and you can just learn as you go, and done is better than perfect. And I'm like, yeah, that's all great, but like, let's get down to brass tacks, like let's make your shit better. And
Right.
I feel like the problem is there's so many people who want to start YouTube that like they need the hand-holdy thing, and I don't want to work with just those
Right.
people. Like, I want to work with people who actually, like, if we're going to work together, they're going to do their homework. They're going to, like,
Right.
do the stuff they're supposed to do, because, like, I don't want to be invested in someone that is just going to be like, well, it's been 6 years since I uploaded my last video, and I just haven't had the time. I'm be like, girl, get out of here. Like, no, can't do it.
Look, I'm a big fan of Roberto's tough love. Every time he's like, it's not the algorithm, it's you. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Like, you can't always just blame it on, somebody shadow banned me. No, they have not.
Yeah.
You're just not making the content your audience wants to watch anymore.
Like,
Have
I'm
you
not the
been
one
paying
you come to
attention?
for a hug. Like, I'm the one you come to and you're like, okay, let's get shit in order. Like, what do we do now? And I feel like it's a harder audience to be like, hey guys, love me, learn from me. This is what you're gonna get.
Someone just said you should be the Gordon Ramsay of YouTube. I'm here for it.
But here's the thing. I feel like if you're going to be the Gordon Ramsay of anything, you gotta have a Michelin star, which means I gotta have like a lot of social proof / my YouTube play button that I can slam down. There's this whole vicious cycle of, if you don't have enough social proof, you don't get to be the person who's an asshole. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like this whole chicken and egg thing, because it's like, yeah, I can tear down anyone's channel, and not punch down on them. And I can be like, well, here's 15 things you can fix. But a lot of the time people are then like, yeah, well, look at your channel. You know? And it's a harder thing to be like, look, we don't have 5 years to get into this, but like, there's a story there. So like, that's where I've felt myself a lot of the time too. That's why I've never made like a how to get your first 10,000 subscribers or your first 30,000 subscribers, because like, I don't want to go through that entire episode of explaining to people what the hell happened for the last 18 months or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So I've always avoided those.
Thing. I think that's the best place to start. If you're going to set yourself up as a critic, criticize yourself first. Like, let me tell you these stories of when I decided to put a freaking t-shirt video and Louboutin video on my channel and what it did. And here's this giveaway that gave me 20,000 subscribers, and then hell broke loose for 18 months. Like, these are the things that if people start doing that, be like, yeah, I know. I made these mistakes. Like, I point back to this video and be like, I told you I made these mistakes, and I'm telling you not to make those mistakes.
I do tell people all the time, I'm like, girl, guy, do not do what I have done. But I guess it's usually in a live stream. Although, yeah, mostly in live streams. I've repetitively said stuff like that. But maybe I need to make a standalone, like, real video.
Yeah, a nice edited video, I would watch the hell out of that. And I think a bunch of these people in the content would too.
Yeah, I think I made one. Ooh, maybe it was on my beauty channel. It was about the toxic beauty community, because, you know, all of that stuff with Shane and Jeffree was going down, and Shane's breakup letter to the beauty community. And I remember like going on an entire tangent, because I've done all the mistakes. I did like the Insta loops. I'm saying your name out loud, people. Like the giveaway loops on Instagram too, to the point where like, you had the swipe, you didn't have the swipe. I paid for a service to clean everyone out of my Instagram. So for a while, if you watched my Instagram analytics as well, I'm sure you would love that. It did this. It was like 10,000 up, 11,000 down or something like that. It was just like insane, because it was like I was in it for a couple months, and it was like, oh, the massive follow again. And it was if you drop, you know, below 10,000, you don't have the swipe up feature anymore. And I was like, oh my god, I have to have the swipe up feature. How will people find my YouTube channels? And I'm like, well, you're an idiot, Shelly, because, you know, the YouTube link is in your bio most of the time. And, you know, it's not like they can't Google your name. You're just being an asshole here. And so, like, and then one time I was just like, why am I paying $100 to keep the swipe up feature when, like, looking at my analytics, like 6 people have looked at it over the, like, entirety of whatever months. And I'm like, you're just wasting money, and you're just kind of being stupid. And this was a whole other debacle that happened. And so I've had to pay for another service to clean out everyone. So like I went through my list and I'm like, oh, I know this person. So I whitelisted like a few people, or allow listed a few people, and then all of a sudden like everyone else was just like gone. So if you look one day, it's just like minus 11,000 people. Like it's just like everyone is gone. Yeah. I've made a lot of mistakes. Okay, so I know that we're kind of at our time here. So is there anything that you want the people to know, or is there anything that you want to like impart amongst the viewers?
I would say, like, look, I think we've learned a lot of useful, like, the illustrative story of Shelly actually hits a lot of things I tell new YouTubers, which is exactly, yes, start, but start with like a plan. And I also say start with, you know, think about what is sustainable for you. Like, think about not just, okay, yes, I could go in and make 1,000 iMovie videos over a 3-year period. Would I be happy with that? Would
I can tell you the answer is no.
So answer is no for that.
Well, I can mute, no, unmute, or whatever it is. But I can tell you, for a while I was trying to be Gabrielle Marie, because I saw like she was my main person for iMovie as a female. I was like, there's only one. And I'm like, oh dude, she hasn't uploaded in 4 months. This is my end. This is my door. And then I made a few videos and I was like, yeah, this sucks. So there was that, and I never even became Gabrielle Marie because I never got all those subscribers, and I was just like, sweet, cool story, bro.
So yeah, so when people tell you like be as niche as possible to grow, yes, being niche on YouTube helps, but like I always say, if you're going to burn out on something and you know that about yourself, and be very self-introspective about this, you're better off in those first couple months looking at what are the variety of things that I would probably like to make content about. If potentially that could be a single audience, so probably not things that are as far apart as beauty and tech. So you really, you know, like you probably don't want to have a gaming / beauty channel. You're probably, that overlap is probably pretty small. But, you know, for example, I work with a lot of women's lifestyle channels, right? And within women's lifestyle, you can either be like, I'm going to be really niche specific into like monster makeup or something, or I'm going to be more a general lifestyle channel where I'm going to hit on, you know, different lifestyle topics. If you're no name, it's probably easier to grow really fast off of a niche. But if that's something that you're going to like 3 years in, throw up your arms and be like, now I'm going to be a sketch comedy channel and change overnight, you're going to see all your subscribers rebel and leave. So it's better off to set things up in that first couple months to be like, okay, I'm on this channel, it's going to be general lifestyle. I'm going to probably do some hair videos. I'm going to do some beauty videos. I'm going to do some DIY videos. And in that first month, I'm going to have an example of every one of that pieces of type of content up on my channel. So now that when people come in, they come in with that expectation. They will have come in through, say, the beauty video, but they've then clicked on your channel, because this is how most people subscribe. They watch a video, they hit your name, and then they'll look at your other videos. If they already see that in your mix of content, oh, they're going to hit all these things, you're going to have a lot less backlash as you start doing more of that stuff, rather than say, I'm going to put up 6 months of just cooking videos, and then people are going to be like, what the heck is this DIY that suddenly shows up on your channel, right? Like, set expectations early if you can. So that said, like, don't worry so much that your camera isn't perfect. Like, to Shelly's earlier point, like, maybe buy yourself a nice lapel mic, but just use your iPhone for the camera. Like, that's the sort of stuff you can improve over time, but maybe come in with a little bit of a plan about what's going to be sustainable and what's going to be right for you, so that you can build your core audience strong from day one, else it does haunt you for the entirety of that channel. And, you know, I've seen channels go so far off the rails they have to be burned down and start over from scratch.
I've thought so many times about just closing down the channel and starting a new one. Well, I start new ones all the time, but like literally just like shutting it down, start a new one, and call it good. Yep. Like so many times.
I don't think
burn it to the ground.
Quite there yet. I think if you private out your lifestyle videos, you do have enough of a core of the other people that you can probably make it work.
I like how you say probably with that face. Probably.
Well, I'm just saying that because it does look like you managed to purge most of your, like, that 20,000 mistaken subscribers, mostly in that first 6 months. obviously it wasn't a perfect one-to-one that everyone that went out in that 6 months was the same ones that came in.
During that time, I could not tell you how depressed I was. Like, month after month of just being told, I don't want to be here with you. Just like, oh God. Yeah.
You were purging. So that's why I'm hopeful at this point that you probably don't have that much of a drag on your channel at this point. And I think a lot of that is you should thank to the last year of people being a lot more interested in learning how to YouTube.
Yeah.
There's the silver lining of the pandemic.
The amount of COVID creators, that is what we call them. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And I'm all for it, because if that's what it takes for some people to at least be productive and connect with others and like share what they want, like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll be here with you to, walk you through that first steps, because at least you're doing something, like, so I'm cool with that. I'm cool with trying
it. Though I do have to laugh a little hysterically, because there is a direct correlation between, kind of, a couple weeks into the pandemic, conversion rates just like skyrocketed. And then stay high, and exactly when they start to plummet is when the first vaccine was announced, like in conversion rates. And when I say very specifically conversion rates, because what's been interesting is the actual viewership in any of these channels that I've looked at that are kind of these YouTube, channel suggestion tips channels, right? The actual views have actually stayed very high. Like, we have maintained that momentum of people watching, but there isn't quite as much the same level at what I call virtue subscribing, which is where you're like, my resolution is I'm going to learn this skill set, so I'm going to hit the subscribe button, and then I'm never going to watch again, right?
I like how you marched. That was awesome.
Because there was like some of these channels are getting like 20% conversion rates, which is like insane. And then as soon as like end of November hit, it was like conversion rates came back to where they should be. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that, we're showing that the views are staying high means that the interest has stayed high. You're just not getting a lot of empty subscribers who are never going to click because they said they wanted to learn a skill but aren't really invested in learning.
I feel like there was a huge boom in YouTube help content during that time. And I saw channels go from like 500,000 to like 1 million, and I'm like, well, some of that is, there's a lot of reasons for that, but like, it was always so funny because I remember going through an entire phase and being like, should I just do another how to start a YouTube series? Like, should I just go through and like just go full bore and like toss everything about video editing and everything just aside and just go full blown like YouTube guru? Because before I was almost likening it to like Justin Brown, where at Primal Video, and he did a lot of video editing, live streaming, and then
he's great at that.
He's so good, right? And then he moved into more of the, now we're going to teach you how to do your email list, your YouTube marketing, and be better with your YouTube stuff. And I feel like this kind of evolved. And I was telling him in a Clubhouse room the other day, and I'm like, yeah, because he was saying he only has 5% of subscribers actually watching. And I'm like, but I feel like you've gained, because I think he hit like 1 million or recently. I'm like, I feel like you've gained more freedom with more time, and I feel like yours was a natural progression, which was what I was going for. I was like, first let me show you how to edit, now here you're a YouTube channel, and now let's optimize it. And I'm like, not only did I never follow that same trajectory, I don't feel like sometimes my YouTube helpy content was accepted or taken very well, which really, I will say, just between you and I, and the internet.
Well, 16 people here right now.
That I was always really, really pissed, because a lot of the time when I see people giving YouTube help and advice and stuff like that, sometimes it's either wrong, it's like, it's outdated, or it's something I already saw posed as a question inside of a Facebook group and then posted on their channel as if they were the one who learned the thing. And I cannot tell you how many times I've seen all of this stuff, and I'm like, this person doesn't even know what they're talking about. And they're giving people advice, and people are, oh my God, you're so amazing. Oh, I've learned everything from you. And I'm like, what in the actual F? Because like, not only is this stuff not true, they talked in circles for 15 minutes, and here I am, I'm giving you everything, and y'all don't want to hit the button. And I'm like, there's a level of anger, not even jealousy, like anger about it that I have, and I'm like, I don't know how not to have that come out.
But it will show you that you can't just have the knowledge, Like, you're better off having the crazy personality and not the knowledge than having the knowledge and not the showmanship, right?
Yeah.
And you I know can have both, and that's when you win, because I do think, and I agree, I pull my hair out watching a lot of this stuff because I watch it because this is what I do. But I'm like, I just literally went through a 10-minute video and maybe I got 30 seconds of information.
Oh my gosh,
it was all platitudes at the end of the day. Like,
yeah. And I cannot even tell you, like, the level of anger that bubbles up in me when people are singing their praises for literally something the week before or the same week that they asked the question in a Facebook group, collected everyone's answers, and then just like made a video about it. And I literally, I was like, how like flabbergasted, that I can be like, okay, so there's so much to this whole, just like you said, like, you can have the knowledge, because I was talking to someone else and they were like, I don't know why people don't watch you, or they don't click, or they don't buy your things, or they don't subscribe, or they don't, because like every time I talk to you or every time I have a question about YouTube, you have the right answer. And this, I'm going to call myself out real quick. It almost, so many of my performance reviews at previous companies, a lot of the, I'm laughing because it's just so me. A lot of the feedback that I would get in my annual review is, your information and like what you're telling people to do, never wrong, almost always right. Your delivery needs some work. It was always like, you make people feel like very small or stupid, or like talk down to them. So like I've worked so hard to be almost like neutral and like take out so much of the like the visible anger sometimes that's in me. But it's just funny because it's like, it's followed me forever. It's always been like, message, yes. Delivery, no. So that is my life. It's
funny because Liz Loves YouTube commented earlier, are women just worried about their gargantuan personality? Yeah, we are trained in the workplace that if we show any sort of emotion, it's going to be blown out of proportion. Like, I learned that very early on, that if my male boss got upset, then everyone would be like, ooh, well, he's really serious. This must be a really serious issue that we should really, take into a really important consideration and make sure we're doing things right. If I showed any level of, not delivering something in the kindest possible, then suddenly I was not to be taken seriously because I was just emotional. And did I lose you? Are you there?
I'm here. Yeah, I was just giving you your moment in the sun to be like,
thank you.
Listen,
thank you.
Cast the nuts.
Because that happened to me as well, and, which it's hilarious because, I always say I need to channel a little bit more Shelly in my life, because I am not naturally the person that's going to get in your face. But even at my level of, if I showed any sort of emotion that wasn't just very even, here's just what you need to know, and no confrontation about it. Like, it was literally like, oh, she's being emotional. We don't have to.
I love that. Emotional is always like a good one. And I cannot tell you the number of times where people, like, they just allow things to happen. And, like, you're looking around being like, oh, that makes you uncomfortable too, right? But you're just not going to say anything. Like, I'm just usually not that person. I'm like, oh, no, we're going to say something, because I don't know, it then becomes this thing where, like, I'm speaking for all womankind, which I hate, because I hate being the poster person for all women, for all Asians, for all whatevers. It's never been cool, but I'm also the person who's going to be like, dude, that's not cool. Shut up. Like, that's not cool. Like, maybe we're not going to talk about this because this is actually stupid, or maybe we're going to talk about it because this is actually not cool at all. And then, like, I almost get like irritated because people will come to me later and be like, oh, I'm so glad you said something. I'm like, why didn't you? Why didn't you say something? Why are you so afraid of being confrontational? Why can't you stand up for yourself? And I'm like picking a fight with them to be like, I'm not your spokesperson. If I hadn't said anything, you were just going to sit there and take it. Like, that's not cool either. But like, that's not my cross to bear all the time. So I don't know what it is. I just have a lot of anger. I have a lot of anger issues. I don't know what it is.
I just feel like you need to be what's Key and Peele when they had like Obama's like anger interpreter. I feel like
there needs to be like a Shelly dictionary, because it's very like I'm not trying to be a jerk when I'm just like, no. I'm trying to give you like the most efficient answer possible, which I think I'm doing you a service, but the person on the other end is like, wow, she's a bitch. It's just amazing. It's like stuff like that like all the time, which is ironic. Anyways.
But I think you can channel that into a really great gargantuan YouTube personality, because the great thing, like, if you're already doing it live, it can only be better edited because you can edit it. Like, you can craft that anger and that, like, that kind of snark into something that is very honed, and I think will perform really well. Are there still going to be like upset, men on the internet? Yes.
Oh, when they're not.
Right, exactly. But I think your core audience is going to eat it up.
Laser focused anger. That's what I got to work on. Pew pew. Pew pew.
Well, the thing you take out of this, the thing you need more in your YouTube content, Shelly, is anger.
I don't know. We're rewriting the channel tonight. We'll call it Shelly's. I don't know. You guys can help me out with that. Shelly's snarky review. I don't know. Something. I'm just picturing 6
months from now when one of our support groups, Shelly's gonna be like, so I took advice from Gwen 6 months ago. And
you know what? First of all, I will have you know, even if I were to take your advice, just because I executed said advice, that doesn't mean like the advice is good or bad, or like your advice is bad. It doesn't mean that. It could be that like my execution just completely flopped on it. It could be that you had the best advice ever. It's just kind of like when I tell people like, hey, a doctor could prescribe you some pills, but if you don't go to the pharmacy and actually pick them up, or if you decide that, every day means one every other week, that's not the doctor's fault. So I'm not blaming you because I decided to take the pills a week apart. So
I can imagine you like getting in a fight with some like large YouTube personality, and you're like splashed across all gossip channels in 6 months.
I'm being on the drama channel, absolutely. Emily Baker will be reading me like my rights about how I got sued for slander. Shelly's slanderous channel. There you go. Or you know what I should really do? I should have it be like Shelly. No, I can't. I was gonna say, I've alluded this so many times. Like Shelly, exposes all the YouTube guru secrets, because we've talked about. I've been a coach for one, and I've been inside some of the others, and I've taken some programs from others, and I've seen some shit, dude. I've seen it, and it's just funny to me. It's funny / sad to me. Some of the stuff that I see some of these YouTube gurus putting out there, and I refuse to go down that same path that panders, I feel like, to those beginner YouTubers, as in like your keyword ranking and wow, this is so amazing and that's what I sell my whole program. And I'm like, shut up, dude, that's not even a thing. But whatever makes you. But here's the thing, is like they make millions and I'm not making millions. So I was like, am I just supposed to do some of that stuff so I can make some of those millions? I don't know. I'm just not there. An exposed channel. Oh,
I think that's, you don't have to name names, but that would make a great video of like the top lies you've been told.
Yeah, I got a million of them. Seriously, there's so many, and I can tell you from the inside where people are paying $5,000 a session for some of these coaches, that they're not. Your best intentions are not their intentions. Your success stories are just their testimonial page to get more clients, okay? They don't give a shit about you. And most of the time they're going to pawn you off on the coaches that will do some of the other work and work with you day in and day out. So it's just their name on the banner, which y'all fell for. Don't even try and get it twisted. A lot of you fell for it because they're making millions every year. Anyways, that's a whole other, apparently, can of worms that we don't need to get into. Anyways, anything else that you want to share with people? I did put your, I think it's your BookTube channel down below, right?
Oh, dear Lord. So, this is my obligatory do what I say, not what I do speech.
I do the same, man. That's why I have a YouTube channel for advice. I'm literally do what I say.
So back when I was, kind of first getting into this, I figured I should, actually YouTube. And I did a book channel because I read a lot of books every year, and it's something I can talk about forever. And I did it for a couple years. So if you want to see what really terrible camera work looks like, go check it out. And I do not have the personality for YouTube, but otherwise...
Yes, you do. I think you're charismatic, you're smart, you're funny. I mean, You totally rocked this live stream. I just apologize to you that was not on my shit early enough to actually get the notifications out earlier in the week so people knew to set their timers. And I feel bad because the information is good and people should have been here. So I'm hoping that people on replay find it helpful. So
well,
I'm sorry.
hoping that you can take a bunch of the little parts of this and make them into like actual like do these video ideas that we said, because to your point, like you can be like, I can't put this out there. We just put it out there. So it's already out there.
Oh, I've said this many times over in the live streams. They're just buried in the live streams, I think.
And that's what's so funny is that you just feel like you can say this stuff in the live stream and not in your edited videos, even though they're going on the same freaking channel. And theoretically, someone could go back and watch this.
Well, I do find that people on the live channel or on the live streams, they watch like 7 times longer than they watch like my regular how-to tutorials. And so I feel like the people in the know, they know if they watch, there's probably going to be a nugget in there, but it's almost like a hidden little secret jewel. You gotta go find it, people. Go find
Plus, I've dealt with this a lot with a lot of creators. Like the difference between live and the taped version is you don't have time to second guess yourself. You just say it and then, well, it's out there, so there's nothing I can do about it now. But this really happens a lot with celebrity talent. Is they shoot it. Then it takes a couple weeks to get through the editing process and get up. They have time to second guess themselves, and they come back and be past that. So a lot of times that.
Oh, you're frozen. If you're still there, I'm still here.
I'm still here.
Okay. Just making sure. I was like, I don't know. You're back.
But yeah, like the thing that would actually like get like all the headlines was almost always something they would say in live. Because they just were able to edit themselves too much, right? Because you could get in your own head. And I would just encourage you to get out of your head on this stuff, because I think those are the people who are really successful on YouTube, right? Is the ones that are just to your
unapologetically
point,
themselves, right?
That they don't really care. And oftentimes it's because they're too stupid to know what the consequences are likely to be. But, that's the reason why we have so many people out there giving bad advice, is because the people who are smart are too smart to do it. And at the end of the day, I think we need more people who are just going to be out there and being like, I am 80% confident. And this is something that so many women have the problem of, right? They're like, well, I'm only 80%, like, I'm only 80% to the place I want to be before I start, like, doing this sort of thing. Well, there's the man back there who's 30%.
Oh my God, I was just talking about this today. About like the job application qualifications, 50% for a guy is like, I'm overqualified. And girls are like, I'm not even applying. Nope. Mm-mm.
Right. There's one bullet point at the bottom that was under preferred, not even required. You're like, well, I don't have that. So
I don't have it. I shouldn't even apply.
I can apply for this.
Yeah.
Don't let that happen to you on YouTube.
Yeah. And I will say that like that was one of the reasons that I really wanted to do more live streaming, is because like I feel like I'm just way more myself here than I get to be in those recorded videos. So that's why it's way more fun for me to do live streams, and I get as many views on live streams as I do my recorded content on Sundays anyway. So at one point I was just like, I'll just be a live stream channel. I won't even make any more tutorials. I'll only live stream because at least it's interactive and fun. And it is tiresome to be in this box and be so like, I'm not going to talk to you about anything outside of iMovie and this button and this whatever,
The problem with live streaming is a great super fan tool.
Yeah, but it's not a good attraction. Audience. It's for nurturing the one that you have. Correct. And that's always been a tough thing for me too, because it's just like, yeah, you want new subscribers, but I was talking to someone the other day and I was like, I'm almost more interested in the relationships that I have now with the smaller, and actually getting like messages from people on Instagram or saying like, because of you I actually started a YouTube channel, or oh my God, my whole week was made when I got a comment from someone on YouTube, and they were like, I know you don't talk about ethnicity a lot, but like, can I just say it's really nice to see an Asian female like thriving in business? And I'm like, thriving? I'm like drowning most of the time, but like, thank you for noticing me. That just made my whole like day. And she's like, the only reason I know how to do some of the stuff that I do is because you actually teach it. And I was like, that's it. That's the comment. That's what I'm looking for. But it's just like, because I was like, I'm always like, no one's watching my videos. Like, here's a video with 80 views, like hoping it gets to 100 views is just like stupid. And then finally getting a comment like that, I was like, oh, thank God someone is watching. It's happening for someone. So that was a nice comment. So I will say, as a thing to people, if you are moved by someone's content, videos, whatnot, please leave comments, because people read them. And especially this week, I've had a very, very hard week, just because, like, I posted, I think, on my community tab, but, like, this week is the 1 year anniversary of, like, my dad's death, and it's just, like, it's been a very hard time. Like, oh, I don't want to get into it. It's been a very hard time. So it was nice to have that, like, comment and be like, oh, it's got me right in my feels. So there's that. Okay, so I've linked your channel down below. I hope that people come and hang out with you, subscribe. I'm so excited for you in your new role. They're very, very, very lucky to have you. And not only that, you are the co-host of the Video Marketing Value podcast, and I believe my episode maybe just came out today because I saw it on the website. So I am going to come back in the show notes later, and I will link that down below. But if you guys want to listen to that episode, it was really fun. Gwen and Dane interviewed me, and it was a whole bunch of reasons why your videos suck, but they don't have to. And so if you're interested in that episode, go listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as please leave them a 5-star review. They're trying to build up their library of reviews over there. You guys know Gwen. She obviously knows her shit. Give her a 5-star review just for being on the stream. So go do that. Anything that you want to say to the people?
This has been a lot of fun. Anytime I can geek out about this stuff, I am a very, very happy person. And this was, I think, one of the most fun conversations I've had this year. So
yay! Oh my God! Well, it's early in the year, first of all, and I will say that you were much nicer to me about my YouTube channel than I was expecting. I really thought you were gonna like come in there with the with knives blazing. So that was much nicer than I thought. So thank you so much.
I literally told you had no personality on your YouTube channel. So
yeah, that doesn't hurt my feelings, Gwen. It's fine. I knew that. I'm like, I am a robot. Hit this button. You will like it. Subscribe. Whatever. All right, thanks everyone for.
I always hope that I deliver my knives in the back with a dose of love.
No, when you twisted it, I was like, oh, that feels good. Thank you. That was nice. That was like. No, it's totally fine. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, everyone. I will see you guys in a video very, very soon. Maybe one about exposing YouTube gurus. I don't know. Leave a comment. Leave a comment on what kind of videos you really want to see from snarky, sassy Shelly, and I'll pick one from the comments and do it this Sunday. How about that for action? So I'll pick one. So go in there and leave a snarky one. All right. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us. We'll see you in a video very soon. Bye.